Scott Sterling against Scotty McKeever in the first match here at Southern States Wrestling. The Spring Mayhem tonight here in Fall Branch, Tennessee. Kevin Dalton, your referee. He's asked for the bell. McKeever taking his time, taking his warm-up jacket off. Dalton's already moved back in the corner. Sterling's ready to go, but Scott McKeever's taking his time. He finally hands the jacket out over the top rope to the ring attendant. Kevin Dalton tells Scotty McKeever, let's go. McKeever showing his muscles to the crowd. The women kind of laughing at him. McKeever thinking he's a sexy thing, but Dalton telling him, hey, let's go. Scott Sterling just waiting. He's wanting to lock up here. Here they start on the bicycle. They go to center ring, collar elbow tie up. Sterling starts with the arm twist on the arm. Drops that forearm across the arm. A twist on the arm now by Scott Sterling of the young gun. McKeever goes down to two knees. McKeever trying to back him in to the corner. McKeever's arm starting to turn pale. Once again, he windmills that arm, takes him down. Scott McKeever flipping over, grabbing a side headlock. Scott Sterling coming up, reversing into a back arm bar. Scott Sterling staying with him. McKeever trying to come up to his feet now. He's up to his feet. Scotty McKeever going to the ropes. Had a call for the break. Kevin Dalton moves in and asks Sterling to back away. Sterling lets the arm go, backs away. Good clean break. McKeever complaining when he was in the ropes that Scott Sterling didn't back away fast enough. Sterling getting the crowd into the match. Scott McKeever's getting disturbed. He's telling the crowd to shut up. He can't concentrate. Collar and elbow tie up. But the young gun, Scott Sterling, goes back to the arm. He goes back to the side arm bar now on one Scott McKeever. Kevin Dalton asked McKeever, did he want to give up? McKeever hollered out, no. McKeever using the hair to take him into the turnbuckles. McKeever on the break gives two shoulder butts right in to the stomach area, and in two lefts shoots the young gun across the ropes. He moves in. Young gun moves out of the corner. McKeever hit nothing but turnbuckle. Scott Sterling going back to that arm bar. McKeever's complaining that the referee should break the arm bar. Kevin Dalton said no. Sterling done a little biting on the fingers there. Scott McKeever getting tore up by the crowd. McKeever comes back up on the feet, but Sterling was staying with the arm bar. McKeever got some fingers into the eyes. He shoots Sterling across the ropes. Good shoulder tackle by the young gun, Scott Sterling. Sterling goes right back to the arm. Well, I tell you what, he's staying on him. This has been a match. It's been tit for tat here. Opening match here at Southern States in Fall Branch, Tennessee. Young gun Scott Sterling been working on the arm of one Scotty McKeever. McKeever complaining. Referee Kevin Dalton says everything's fine. Boy, watch Sterling work over the arm of Scott McKeever. He dropped a knee into the arm and then dropped his top body into the arm of Scott McKeever. McKeever takes him to the turnbuckle. Arm drags him out, but Sterling hangs on and stays with the hold and still comes up with the arm bar. Now Sterling drops twice to cross with his body across the arm of Scott McKeever. A 2 count as McKeever's shoulders went down to the mat. Kevin Dalton right there gets another 2 count. McKeever trying to relieve some of that pressure that's put on the arm bar, and every time he lays back, referee Kevin Dalton's in position for the 2 count. Scott Sterling, the young gun, has turned the armbar hold into a stretch hold. Now Scott McKeever's reversed it. He's got a couple 2 counts on Scott Sterling. The crowd complaining to referee Kevin Dalton that Scotty McKeever is using the top rope for leverage. Of course, McKeever looking at the shoulders and couldn't tell that this was going on. When you're in the wrestling ring being a referee, you're looking for the shoulders to go down on the mat to get you count. And sometimes you just don't see everything goes on. It's impossible. Scott McKeever rocks the young gun back on the mat, gets a 2 count. McKeever rocks him back on the mat and goes to the top rope. And as he had Sterling down on the mat, he gave him a boot right across the face, into the eyes. Scott McKeever shoots the young gun into the ropes. Sterling goes for the sunset flip. As you saw there, McKeever grabbed the top rope for leverage. Kevin Dalton saw it, moved in, kicked the feet away, and the sunset flip for a 2 count was completed. Scott Sterling, the young gun, staying on the arm bar in this match. Scotty McKeever in a world of trouble on that arm bar. I guarantee you that. That arm beginning to turn white. I know it's already went to numb. The young gun, Scott Sterling, has really been working on the arm of one Scott McKeever. The young gun, Scott Sterling, comes up. Man, he throws a right in, right to the side of the face. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots, 6 to the top of the head of Scott McKeever. Sterling shoots McKeever in, but McKeever reverses a knee to the solar plexus. That's going to slow the young gun Scott Sterling down. Scotty McKeever will walk around now trying to get that arm loosened back up, and a little bit of filling coming back into it. He goes to the leg of the young gun, Scott Sterling, working on the hamstring. 3 shots into the hamstring. There's a 2 count. Sterling laid back to relieve the pressure. There's another 2 count, because when the shoulders goes down, referee Kevin Dalton's right in position, and he makes the count. Scotty McKeever working on the leg of the young gun, Scott Sterling. The young gun, Scott Sterling, worked on the arm of Scotty McKeever. McKeever works on the leg. He's going for the figure 4, and he's got it right in center of the ring. Figure 4 leg lock. Scott McKeever got it on the young gun, Scott Sterling. Sterling laid back with the shoulders. Referee Kevin Dalton got a 2 count. McKeever was going to use the ropes for extra leverage. The crowd was telling referee Kevin Dalton he's in the ropes. There's another 2 count on Scott Sterling, the young gun. Scotty McKeever still with the figure 4, reaches up, grabs the rope. Referee Kevin Dalton asking Scotty McKeever, hey, did you have the rope? Of course, you know McKeever's going to say, no, he didn't have any rope. That time, McKeever had the ropes. Kevin Dalton was in position, saw him, made him break the figure 4 leg lock. Scott Sterling, the young gun, is in a world of trouble because the figure 4 was on for a good 2.5 to 3 minutes. McKeever not giving up. He's standing right on the leg. He knows he's got the young gun in a bad position.
10 minutes into the match, 5 minutes remaining.
10 minutes into the match, as you heard Roy Ferguson give out, 5 minutes remaining. There was a short roll-up inside cradle for a 2 count. Scott Sterling may be hurt, but he's not out. Scotty McKeever doing a flying mirror on the young gun. He hooks that front face lock, pulling back on the neck. Boy, that puts a world of pressure on your neck. and he's in a world of trouble. Scotty McKeever, the heartbreaker, coming up, and he's going to really put it to him here. A good 10 minutes of action here at the Sampson Center. We've got about, 4.5 minutes remaining. Scott Sterling, the young gun, starting to clap, wanting the crowd to get into it. The crowd with the momentum will help him out. Sterling turning in. There's one elbow. There's two. But as he went for the second elbow, McKeever just blatantly reached up, grabbed the hair, pulled him down. There's a 2 count, but the young gun, Scott Sterling, kicked out Scotty McKeever. Going to the front face lock once again. He's got it in good and tight. Referee Kevin Dalton, a fine referee, staying in position right where he ought to be. And he's checking with Sterling to see if he wants to give it up. He'll reach up and check the throat to see if it's any choking going on. It wasn't any. Once again, Scott Sterling, the young gun, calling on the crowd to help him get out of this situation. Scott Sterling's up on his feet. There's 2 elbow shots to the gut, but Scotty McKeever with a good spin on his feet with an elbow right into the face of the young gun, Scott Sterling. Now, Scotty McKeever just blatantly puts a foot across the throat of the young gun, Scott Sterling. He goes for the pin, gets a 2 count. Referee Kevin Dalton said, no, it wasn't a 3. You got a 2 count. 2 was all you had. Scott McKeever, with his back turned to me, has got Sterling turned to the other way of the crowd, but he's got that front face locked. The referee Kevin Dalton right in position saying, hey, do you want to give it up? Do you want to quit right now? I'll ring the bell. But the young gun, Scott Sterling, hanging on. He comes up, 1 shot to the gut, 2 shot to the gut, and McKeever goes to the eyes to slow the young gun down. He takes him to the turnbuckle, shoots him in. Now he brings him out of the corner into the other turnbuckle. He goes for the same maneuver he used at the start of the match. The young gun moved out of the way, and Scott McKeever got all bit of the turnbuckle. There was a good stiff forearm. The young gun on the move. He goes in. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Time to get fired tonight.
Well, Scotty McKeever went for the pin. He got it, but he had his feet on the ropes. Referee Kevin Dalton saw it. He said, no, I'm not going to give you the win. It's a time limit draw. The first match tonight, a time limit draw here at the Sampson Center against Scott Sterling, the young gun, and Scotty McKeever.
You know, I don't find this very amusing. I've been here for a couple of months, and I've been treated with absolutely no respect. I've got a question for you. Where's Ken Bowles? Where's the commissioner of this promotion, Ken Bowles? Well, let me tell you something. If you people were in Johnson City last night, you would have known what happened to them. I revealed the biggest conspiracy since Watergate. I can run my mouth about whatever I want. My name is the Duke of New York. I ripped the lid off the biggest mystery of professional wrestling since Jim Cornette's sudden weight gain syndrome. And the fact is, Ken Bowles is not here tonight. He is incarcerated. The man is behind bars as we speak for embezzlement. You see, 2 weeks ago, right here in this building, he fined Beau James $500 for throwing fire at Ricky Morton. Beau James told me he paid that fine. Yet the money never showed up in the bank account. So this man is supposed to be the commissioner, was stealing money all this time, and now he is no longer the commissioner of Southern States Wrestling. But I don't like that, because that means there are no rules. Bubba right here can walk out and smack one of you in the face, and no one can do anything about it. There needs to be a commissioner. There needs to be rules. And we need a man with respect. We need a man with honor. We need a man with high standards to call it like it is. Therefore, I nominate myself, the Duke of New York, to be the next commissioner. I can sit down in that seat and I can do whatever I want.
I tell you what, Justin St. John and the Duke and Bubba, Justin St. John, the Duke, and Bubba, I tell you, we're going to see some action here tonight. And that's for sure. There's the bell. Starting for the Wolfman and David Lynch, the Mad Dog. It'll be David Lynch, the Mad Dog, starting out against Justin St. John. The Duke is in the corner. He's bowing to the crowd. He's got his New York Yankees ball shirt on. He's got his baseball bat. And I say, by golly, that he'd use it in a heartbeat. Here we go. They go collar and elbow. Justin St. John and the Mad Dog David Lynch. Justin backs David Lynch into the ropes. About 3 shots to the gut. And he throwed him off the ropes, and as he went for the clothesline, the Mad Dog bent down, and he got him a bite of honey. I mean, he bit Justin St. John good. He sure did. Now, Justin St. John and the Dog down on the mat. The Dog kind of act like he used St. John for a tree. Justin St. John rolling out, getting away from the Dog. Boy, Bubba hit the floor, and the Duke hit the floor as well. Justin St. John, Bubba, and the Duke all out on the floor. Referee James McCombs starts the count to get them back into the match. The Dog, David Lynch, doing his barking sounds. Justin St. John back into the ring, but he made the tag. In comes Bubba. This is the first time that we've saw Bubba, but now David Lynch tags out to the Wolfman. Wolfman of the ex-Smoky Mountain Wrestling fame. I've refereed a match or two with the Wolfman, and he's a tough man. Let's see how he fares against this wrestler called Bubba. Hey, they lock fingers. Test of strength going on right in the center of the ring. Justin St. John was going to come in, but as the referee put Justin St. John out, David Lynch came in and gave a forearm to Bubba right between the legs. Justin St. John started back in. Referee James McCombs comes over, puts St. John back out. And as you saw right there, Justin St. John was going to go through the legs of his man Bubba. David Lynch was waiting on him, and he caused St. John to hit his own partner. There's the Wolfman working over Bubba. There's a 2 count. Boy, the Wolfman really trimming down and looking good since his venue in Smoky Mountain. starting to move on Bubba. There's a tag. Mad Dog David Lynch coming into the ring. Goes to the top rope and comes off on the arm. Starts the arm twist on Bubba. Bubba looks like he's in a little bit of trouble. You remember the song, If Bubba Can Dance, I Can Too. And I tell you what, Bubba was a dancing a few minutes ago when the arm bar was applied by the Mad Dog, David Lynch. Lynch shoots Bubba across the ring. Bubba reverses. Lynch goes into the ropes. Justin St. John gets a knee up into the back of the Mad Dog, David Lynch. There's a butterfly suplex. Done very well by Bubba. Bubba makes the tag. So young, yet so good. Justin St. John comes in. He goes to the top rope and comes off and drives some fist to the head of the Mad Dog, David Lynch. Of course, James McCombs, the referee, right in the right position. Starts a count on Justin St. John, makes him break. There's two left hands to the side of the face of the Mad Dog. St. John flips him out, then goes to the corner and flips over the Mad Dog, grabs the head. Now, he went over and punched the Wolfman, but James McCombs right there to put the Wolfman outside. Now, Bubba and St. John double teaming the Mad Dog, David Lynch. They shot him in, give him a double elbow, but it resulted only in a 2 count. It's the Mad Dog, David Lynch, and Bubba inside the ring. Bubba shoots the Mad Dog across, comes in with a moonsault. Well, I'll tell you what, a moonsault splash by Bubba. And to tell you what, I was impressed. There was a 2 count. Mad Dog David Lynch foot was on the ropes. That will constitute a break. Bubba picks David Lynch up, shoots him into the foot of one Justin St. John. Tag's been made. Justin St. John to come in. Bubba will go outside. The Duke of New York standing in his team's corner. Just, he's not really done much interfering. But watch the Mad Dog David Lynch shoot Justin St. John across. He goes for a hip toss. St. John gets him in the reverse neck breaker. Justin St. John gets a 2 count on the Mad Dog, David Lynch. Now, Justin St. John using one of the old holes that you don't see much anymore except for here in Southern States. And I tell you what, it's a pleasure to be associated with Southern States Wrestling. There's the abdominal stretch. St. John was getting a little bit of help from Bubba. Tag's been made. Justin St. John tags in Bubba. Bubba goes to the corner. He'll drop all that weight across the Mad Dog, David Lynch. But he got a 2 count. I'm not sure whether Mad Dog kicked out or whether Bubba picked him up. Bubba throwing rabbit punches to the back of the neck and to the back area. Bubba shoots the Mad Dog, David Lynch, across the ropes. Lynch goes to the outside of the floor. Justin St. John going to take advantage of this. He's got the Mad Dog down on the floor. Here comes a big slam by Justin St. John. Now the Wolfman tore up over this, comes on the inside, tells the referee, hey, do something about it. Get him back in the ring. And that just gives Justin St. John time to work over the Mad Dog, David Lynch. Bubba makes a tag to so young yet so good, Justin St. John. St. John with a shot to the chest, a second shot to the chest, a third to the side of the face. Justin St. John shoots the Mad Dog into the corner, and then the flying elbow flush into the face. A 2 count by Justin St. John on the Mad Dog, David Lynch. Justin St. John going to the front face lock. He says he's got him now. Referee James McCombs right there where he can ask the Mad Dog David Lynch, hey, what about it? Do you want to give it up? Justin St. John really working over this Mad Dog. The Wolfman's outside watching the action. He's warning in. Mad Dog's coming to his feet. Looks like an elbow to the midsection. 2 elbows to the midsection. A third. David Lynch comes off the ropes. St. John goes for the clothesline and misses, but he gets the knee flush into the gut of the Mad Dog David Lynch. A tag's been made. Justin St. John holding Mad Dog David Lynch for Bubba as the exchange in the ring has been made. There's a headbutt by Bubba. Bubba shooting the Mad Dog across the ring. Bubba going for the splash, and he gets it. Bubba backs up again, was going for another splash, but David Lynch fell into the corner. Now the boot of Justin St. John into the head of the Mad Dog David Lynch. Boy, these guys have been working like a well-oiled machine. Tag's been made. Here goes Justin St. John into the ring. He throws the Mad Dog into the corner. Now he's going to shoot Bubba to the corner. The Mad Dog moved out of the way. Bubba got the full force of the turnbuckles. And then the Mad Dog clothesline won Justin St. John. Tag's been made by the Mad Dog David Lynch. The Wolfman with 2 arm drags on Justin St. John. He shoots St. John in. Drop kick by the Wolfman on Justin St. John. Bubba come in after that. He shoots the Wolfman in. Clothesline by Bubba on the Wolfman. Now all 4 men inside the ring. The Mad Dog David Lynch done a moonsault over the top rope on one Justin St. John. The Wolfman with Bubba in the corner. Well, all the action here is hard to call. Justin St. John, the Mad Dog, outside the ring. Even the Duke of New York got knocked down in that sprawl. Returning to the ring, the Wolfman with Bubba in the corner. He gave him 3 shoulder butts right into the midsection. And now, Mad Dog David Lynch had Justin St. John pinned. Bubba went for the big splash. The Mad Dog moved. Bubba splashed Justin St. John. The winners of the fall in the match, the Wolfman and the Mad Dog David Lynch.
Mad Dog David Lynch and the Wolfman.
One, two, three. The Duke throwing a fit now that his men lost, but it was Bubba.
That looks like a commissioner or a clown to you.
We've called for the bell. Malia Hosaka jumps out of the ring.
You keep your mouth off me, Beau. You keep your mouth off me. You ain't gonna knock nothing out. You wanna knock me out? Take your best shot.
Beau James keeps telling Debbie Combs he's going to knock her out. Debbie told him, said, hey, give it your best shot. Here we go. Malia Hosaka and Debbie Combs collar and elbow right in the center of the ring. Malia Hosaka getting the hair of Debbie Combs, taking her down to the mat. The crowd into it saying, hey, She got her hair. Debbie Combs saying Malia Hosaka's choking. Debbie Combs telling the referee, James McCombs, that Malia Hosaka's doing the choking. Malia Hosaka, right here in Fall Branch, Tennessee. Debbie Combs, one of the greatest lady wrestlers in the world today. In fact, you're seeing two of the very best right here tonight in Fall Branch, Tennessee. It's a pleasure to be here and for me to call this match for you. And I'll tell you what, it's good to be back working with Southern States Championship Wrestling. We've missed it, and it's good to be back. Whether I'm in the ring or on the microphone, it makes any difference. I enjoy both. And we've got two fine referees tonight in James McCombs and Kevin Dalton doing the refereeing for you. Mike Williams on the microphone. Malia Hosaka been using the hair a lot of Debbie Combs. A lot of mat wrestling. Malia, excuse me, has been working mostly on the arm, but she's been in the hair mostly. You don't see women wrestling much anymore, but I tell you what, it's as popular as it's ever been, and I think it should be on about every card if a man can get it. Now, Debbie Combs turns the tide. She turns Malia Hosaka over on her stomach. She gets a back arm bar. From my vantage point here at ringside, she is working over Malia Hosaka. Again, she puts the twist on the arm. Debbie Combs wanting referee James McCombs to ask Malia Hosaka, does she want to give up? Hosaka gets a handful of Debbie Combs' hair. Debbie Combs tells the referee every time she gets a hold of my hair, I'm going to pull her hair. Now she's on Beau James. She told Beau she'd pull his hair out too. Malia Hosaka going for the hair of Debbie Combs again. And really, they've done a lot of mat wrestling here tonight. Beau James out here making sure everything's going to go Malia Hosaka's way. Malia Hosaka and Debbie Combs on the mat. Looks like Malia's got a side headlock from my vantage point. Referee James Combs staying right on the action. From my vantage point, I could just see the side headlock. Now, Malia Hosaka comes up in a side headlock with Debbie Combs. She's applying the pressure. This Malia Hosaka, she is quick, and she can move, and she just tucked Debbie Combs down in a side headlock. Malia Hosaka choking Debbie Combs while Beau James has the referee's attention. Now when the referee turns back around, the side headlock is reapplied by Malia Hosaka on Debbie Combs. Debbie going for the hair of Malia. But the referee says, hey, get your hands out of her hair. Don't pull her hair. Malia Hosaka still with a side headlock on Debbie Combs. They're coming to their feet. Debbie Combs shoots Malia Hosaka into the ropes. Hosaka comes off, gets the side headlock once again, and once again it's Debbie Combs shoots Malia Hosaka into the ropes. Malia grabs the hair of Debbie Combs and holds on for the headlock. Now Debbie Combs comes up and gets a head scissors on one Malia Hosaka. Debbie Combs applying the head scissors to one Malia Hosaka. Malia coming up, but Debbie Combs reaches back, clambers her across the stomach, gets her back down. Debbie Combs asking Beau James, hey, do you want one? I'll give you one too. Beau James talking to the referee. Debbie Combs still with the headlock on Malia Hosaka. Debbie Combs again throwing the fist into the midsection of Malia Hosaka. She got a 2 count on Malia. She still got the side headlock from my vantage point. Malia Hosaka comes up out of the side headlock, or the head scissors rather. Hooks those legs, crosses them, pulls back, but instead of using the face, she was using the hair of Debbie Combs. Referee James McCombs is in front of me. Of course, he has to be in that position to see if Debbie Combs would like to give it up. Malia Hosaka working on the legs and applying pressure to the back. Debbie Combs pushes Malia Hosaka off with the feet. Malia coming up, gives her the Japanese side kick to the throat area. Now Malia got Debbie Combs by the hair, shoots her into the ropes. There's that side kick to the midsection. This Malia Hosaka, I told you, she's a mover and a shaker. And by golly, she's given Debbie Combs a hard row to hoe. Now she's on the referee. She goes back over, turns her attention to Debbie Combs. Malia Hosaka has taken off one of the gloves. She's got it around Debbie Combs' throat, cutting off the air to the throat. Now Beau James is starting to choke Debbie Combs. Beau James said he didn't care to hit a woman. By golly, he just showed you he didn't. He kind of threw the right hand to the side of the face of Debbie Combs. Malia Hosaka taking over on Debbie Combs. She's got her by the arms. Malia Hosaka going to the hair of Debbie Combs. Malia Hosaka going for the Japanese kick right into the stomach 2 times. Now the arm bar twist. Malia Hosaka moving in on Debbie Combs. Malia Hosaka, the NWA World Champion, is really working over Debbie Combs from Nashville, Tennessee. Debbie takes a flip out there. There was a 1 count. The shoulders was down. James McCombs counts another one. Malia Hosaka staying on the arms of Debbie Combs. There she goes again. I'm so used to saying we don't have ladies matches around that much, and you get sidetracked. But Debbie Combs and Malia Hosaka putting on a very interesting match here in Fall Branch, Tennessee tonight. Malia Hosaka's been staying with the arm bar, and that arm's starting to turn white and numb on Debbie Combs. Debbie Combs starting to come to her feet. Malia Hosaka shoots her in. There's that kick to the front of the face. There's a 2 count by referee James McCombs. Malia Hosaka, she rakes the back at Debbie Combs. There's a clothesline from Malia Hosaka. And now Hosaka has got a foot across the throat of Debbie Combs. Malia's going to the leg now. Step over toe hold. Now she grabs the other. She's going in for the sting maneuver. She bends back on those legs of Debbie Combs. Now Malia Hosaka is going in for the Texas toe hold, but Debbie Combs flips her back out. Malia Hosaka goes for the kick, gets her to the side of the face. Malia Hosaka brings her out, but Debbie Combs getting a knee up into the face of Malia Hosaka. Debbie Combs going for the big swing here. She might swing. Here we go. Swinging her around. Debbie Combs with a beautiful swing maneuver on Malia Hosaka. Here she goes for it again. She's starting to lock it in. Now she goes for the Boston Crab. She's almost got it locked. She's not got it set fully in, but just enough to kind of cause pain. But Malia Hosaka with a flip out and a 2 count. Reversal by Debbie Combs, a 2 count. Both women, here goes Malia Hosaka. That was the Olympic roll-up. A 2 count right there. Debbie Combs shooting Malia Hosaka across her back. Looks like an airplane spin, and it is. We're going for the ride. Debbie Combs with an airplane spin. Malia Hosaka holding on. 2 count on Debbie Combs. As Debbie went to lay Malia down, she held on and rolled her over. Debbie Combs going now for the, looks like the swing full Nelson. Malia Hosaka dropping down. Debbie Combs got her hook. It looks like it's going to be a butt buster here in a minute. I'm looking for a butt buster. Here we go. The butt buster, just like I called it. I knew it was coming. And right there you saw it. Debbie Combs got her legs locked around the midsection. And Malia Hosaka, here comes the butt buster again. There we go. Well, that drove her tailbone plumb up her spine. Now the Kiwi roll. Debbie Combs keeping Malia Hosaka in the Kiwi roll that was made famous by Abe Jacobs in the 50s and 60s and 70s. Debbie Combs, Malia Hosaka, what a show they're putting on tonight here in Fall Branch, Tennessee. Beau James informing the referee, James McCombs, that Debbie Combs is breaking every rule in the book. And if he don't quit and watch what she's doing, they're leaving and taking the NWA Women's World title with them tonight.
If you people like me more noise, me and Malia's gonna take this brother right up the door with it.
Malia Hosaka went for a double chop on Debbie Combs. Malia Hosaka shoots her in. Sunset flip of Debbie Combs. But Malia Hosaka was in the ropes. A call for the break. Here comes the swing again. The slingshot maneuver across the ropes. Malia Hosaka in a world of trouble now. Surfboard. Ricky Steamboat used this years ago. There's the Hawaiian surfboard. Referee James McCombs asking Malia Hosaka, does she want to give it up? She said, yes, sirree.
When she had up, Debbie's combs and shoulders were down for at least a 10 count, and you did not count. She was down for at least a 10 count when she had to lay it up. And I look at it this way, because you're incompetent, you better get that belt, give it back to her, because she never lost the belt. She's still the champion. She never said I quit.
The new NWA World's Heavyweight Ladies Champion, Debbie Combs, here in Fall Branch, Tennessee, defeating one of the best young wrestlers today, Malia Hosaka. Here we go, six-man tag team action.
Well, we've got Captain Destruction and Chic together, and ladies and gentlemen, back at the Sampson Center, the Christian Brothers, and
Steve Flynn in against one of Death and Destruction, Frank Anderson.
Steve Flynn.
There's Frank Parker. Frank Parker just got hip tossed up. Roger Anderson. Chick White. Frank the Tank Parker, Roger Anderson, and Chick White all on one side. The Christian Brothers, Danny and Bam Bam, and Steve High Flying Flynn. Well, when we get some order here, I'll call the match for you. It'll be Steve Flynn starting for his team. They're all dressed in yellow and blue tonight with white boots. It'll be high flying Steve Flynn starting out this six-man tag team match against Chick White. Must have been some hair pulling going on. I didn't see it. Again, a little hair pulling going on. Steve Flynn not able to get on track yet. Peaches is on the outside of the ring. Chick White pulling the hair again of high flying Steve Flynn. Flynn gets right in his face. White comes back in. Steve Flynn tells referee Kevin Dalton, hey, pull my hair. Collared elbow tied by Chick White and high flying Steve Flynn. They take Flynn to the corner. The Christian Brothers come in to help out. Referee Kevin Dalton putting them on the outside. And all three men on the other side. Roger Anderson, Frank Parker, and Chick White working over the high-flying man, Steve Flynn. The Christian Brothers come back inside. Referee Kevin Dalton putting the Christian Brothers, Danny and Bam Bam on the outside. While he was doing that, Roger Anderson, Frank the Tank Parker, and Chic Watt was working over high flying Steve Flynn. Flynn coming to life. Steve Flynn shooting Frank Parker across the ring. Gets a high flying elbow, forearm if you will, clothesline. Frank the Tank Parker, the world of trouble. Flynn was going to move in on him. Parker pulls himself up. Roger Anderson wanting out. Time out, rather. High flying Steve Flynn. And Frank the Tank Parker lock up. Parker body slams Steve Flynn. Now he kicks Steve Flynn in the midsection. That's Frank the Tank Parker in there. Frank Parker. One of Death and Destruction. They wore hoods around here for a long time under the names of Death and Destruction. And during the Labor Day extravaganza, they was unmasked. Now the tag's been made. Roger Anderson coming in. Steve Flynn was ready. Caught the arm drag. Tuck him over. Kevin Dalton asking high flying Steve Flynn, hey, did you pull the hair to take him over? Tag's been made. Bam Bam Christian comes in. Bam Bam working on the arm of Roger Anderson. He windmills that arm. Bam Bam Christian working over the arm of Roger Anderson. Chic Watt and Frank Parker out on the outside. Steve Flynn and Danny Christian out on the other side of the ring. In the ring right now, it's Bam Bam Christian working over Roger Anderson. Bam Bam stand with the arm on Roger Anderson. Frank the Tank Parker complaining. Now Steve Flynn moves to the other side of the ring. Now a switch is being made by the Christian brothers. Bam Bam goes outside. Danny comes inside. The referee asking, was a tag made? Danny says, yeah, we made the tag. Now the arm stretch on Roger Anderson by Danny Christian. Danny putting the arm stretch to Roger Anderson. Anderson trying to come to his feet, but Christian kept the power and the pressure on. The arm stretcher takes Roger Anderson back down to the canvas. Frank the Tank Parker tried to sneak in. Chic Watt tried to sneak in, but the referee looked up and said, look guys, you got to stay outside till you're tagged. Here comes Steve Flynn in. Steve Flynn will switch places with Danny Christian. The referee, Kevin Dalton, said, guys, did you make a tag? They said, yeah, we sure did. Now, high-flying Steve Flynn reaches back, tags Danny Christian. Danny goes to the second rope, comes off across the arm of Roger Anderson. Now, Danny Christian working over on the arm, shoots Roger Anderson across the ring. Here comes Christian. Danny Christian tried a big slam, missed it, but Roger Anderson got the clothesline. He put a foot across the throat of Danny Christian. Roger Anderson going to his corner. Tag's been made. Chic Watt, the Outlaw, will come in. Chic Watt working over Danny Christian. Bam Bam Christian starts in. The referee says, get outside into your corner till the tag is made. Chic Watt working over the eyes of one Danny Christian. Referee Kevin Dalton saw him, starting to count on him. Now Chic Watt, the Outlaw, starting to argue with the referee Kevin Dalton. Frank the Tank Parker and Roger Anderson. On the outside. Now, Frank the Tank Parker moves in and giving some shots to the head of one Danny Christian. He tells the referee, Kevin Dalton, they wasn't fists, they was open slaps. Bam Bam Christian started in, but Kevin Dalton put him on the outside. Frank the Tank Parker on the inside now. He makes the tag to his tag team partner, Roger Anderson. On the exchange, Anderson gets a kick up into the midsection of Danny Christian. Roger Anderson sending Danny Christian across the ring. Tag's been made. The high-flying Steve Flynn comes in, shoots Roger Anderson across the ring, an elbow into the chest to cover, a 2 count and a kick out. Here comes Steve Flynn once again, side headlock on Roger Anderson. Anderson backs Flynn into the ropes, shoots Flynn across the ring. Peaches grabs the leg of high-flying Steve Flynn. Roger Anderson comes up with a clothesline. Now the tag's been made. The Outlaw, Chic White, moves in on high-flying Steve Flynn. Referee Kevin Dalton asking, did they make a tag? They said, yes, we sure did. The Outlaw, Chic White, inviting all men into the ring. Now, it's Chic White, Frank the Tank Parker, and Roger Anderson working over high-flying Steve Flynn. Chic White goes outside. Roger Anderson goes outside. A standing drop kick by Frank the Tank Parker into the face of the high-flying Steve Flynn. Bam Bam Christian starts in. Danny Christian starts in. Now it's Frank the Tank Parker and high-flying Steve Flynn in the ring. A flying mare by Frank the Tank Parker into a front face lock. Referee Kevin Dalton checked the front face lock to see if it was a choke. It is not. Danny Christian and Bam Bam Christian outside. Here comes Roger Anderson. Bam Bam Christian goes in, gets a kick in on Roger Anderson. Referee Kevin Dalton tells the Christian brothers outside till the tag's made. Frank the Tank Parker and high-flying Steve Flynn in the ring. Steve ducks a clothesline. He goes high, tries to get a crossbody block, but Frank the Tank Parker picked Flynn up in midair and stopped it, sent him crashing to the mat. He gets a 2 count on the high-flying Steve Flynn. Frank the Tank Parker sends Flynn outside. Now, Bam Bam Christian starts inside the ring. Danny Christian inside the ring. Kevin Dalton, the referee, starting a double count on the Christian brothers. He wants them outside the ring. Now, Kevin Dalton putting the Christian brothers on the outside because the tag has not been made. They've got the high-flying one, Steve Flynn, outside. Peaches was working on him along with the Outlaw, Chic White, and Roger Anderson. Now it's Frank the Tank Parker and high-flying Steve Flynn in the center of the ring. Frank Parker continues to work over on the high-flying Steve Flynn. Tag's been made. Frank the Tank Parker will tag in Roger Anderson. Roger Anderson working over the high-flying Steve Flynn. Steve's in a world of trouble. He needs to tag one of the Christian brothers. There's a pickup suplex from Roger Anderson. Roger picks him up by the hair of the head, throws him to the outside. Chic White the Outlaw will jump down and do some work on high-flying Steve Flynn on the outside. The outlaw, Chic White, just posted Steve Flynn. Peaches just slapped Steve Flynn flush in the face. Chic White and Frank the Tank Parker was on the outside, but let's continue to the inside of the ring. Roger Anderson done a side salto on Steve Flynn. Roger Anderson picking Flynn up. He makes a tag to the outlaw. In comes Chic White. White moves in, takes a shot to the midsection, gets him in a side headlock, starting to work on the eyes and the throat of Steve Flynn. Now, Bam Bam Christian is in the ring. Steve Flynn's blinded by his eyes being worked on, and he's down on the mat, striking at anything he sees. The Christian Brothers is being put outside the ring by Kevin Dalton, a fine official. The outlaw Chic White is working over the high-flying one, Steve Flynn, right in the center of the ring here at Southern States Wrestling. There's a leg drop by the outlaw Chic White. He goes for the cover. 2 count by referee Kevin Dalton. Peaches was told by the referee, stay in your corner. Outlaw Chic White up. Steve Flynn having trouble with his eyes, don't know where he's at. Outlaw Chic White with a foot across the throat of the high-flying Steve Flynn. Chic White goes to his corner, runs Flynn into the turnbuckle. He tags Frank the Tank Parker. Parker moves in now, stomping the chest and the throat of the high-flying Steve Flynn. Parker goes for a mediocre pin, gets a 2 count. He stomps high-flying Steve Flynn again. Parker with a kick to the head. Steve Flynn in a world of trouble, needs to get to his corner and make a tag. Frank the Tank Parker starting to showboat. He knows he's got Steve Flynn in a world of trouble. Flynn just caught a fist to the side of the head. Frank the Tank Parker keeping high-flying Steve Flynn in his corner. Frank the Tank Parker just went to the eyes. The high-flying one, Steve Flynn. Frank the Tank Parker just hit Steve Flynn on the top of the head with a rabbit punch. Steve Flynn's in a world of trouble. He needs to make the tag to one of the Christian Brothers, but Frank the Tank Parker, he knows what he's doing in the ring, and he's keeping high-flying Steve Flynn away from his partners. Parker shoots him in. Flynn with a beautiful flying clothesline off the rope on Frank the Tank Parker. Flynn going to his corner. Let's see if he can make the tag. Tag's been made. Roger Anderson comes in, and Frank the Tank Parker kept high-flying Steve Flynn from making the tag. He grabbed the foot at the last second and pulled him back. Now Roger Anderson with a big body slam on Steve Flynn. Now with a leg drop, he gets a 2 count. Roger Anderson getting a 2 count on the high-flying Steve Flynn. Flynn fighting back with everything in him. Takes a shot to the midsection. Roger Anderson going for a suplex on Steve Flynn. He's trying to get him up. Steve's blocking the suplex maneuver. He reverses it. A suplex on Roger Anderson by high-flying Steve Flynn. Both men down in the center of the ring. Referee Kevin Dalton starts a double count on both men. Let's see who's going to be the first to get up. It's Roger Anderson. He goes to the corner. He tags the outlaw Chic White. White moves in. He gives a looping right hand to the chest area of Steve Flynn. Chic White throws Flynn into the corner. He's going to monkey flip him out. There he came. Chic White moving in. Now goes for the pin. 2 count by the outlaw. Chic White tag team action personified here at Southern States Championship Wrestling. 6-man tag team action. Some of the best in the world right here in Fall Branch, Tennessee. Mike Williams bringing it to you. Steve Flynn in a world of trouble. The outlaw Chick White gives a punch to the side of the neck to the high-flying Steve Flynn. They got Flynn on the ropes now. Roger Anderson jumps down, brings that neck over the top rope. Chick White moves back in. He's going for the leg drop once again across the throat. He gets a 2 count on the high-flying Steve Flynn. Outlaw Chick White starting to move toward the corner. A gut shot by Steve Flynn. A second gut shot by Steve Flynn. A third gut shot by Steve Flynn. Bends Chick White over. Chick White with a right to the top of the head of high-flying Steve Flynn. Outlaw Chick White shoots Steve Flynn across the ropes. Steve comes up with a knee to the side of the head. Steve Flynn, Outlaw Chick White, both down in the center of the ring. Both men slowly coming up. High-flying Steve Flynn will come up first. He makes the tag. Danny Christian will come in. Outlaw Chick White getting some. Frank the Tank Parker getting some. Roger Anderson getting some. Danny Christian on Frank the Tank Parker. There's an elbow to the top of the head. Another elbow to the top of the head by Danny Christian. Roger Anderson gives a kidney shot to high-flying Steve Flynn. They're out on the floor in front of me. In the ring, there is a super slam by Danny Christian. Steve Flynn in a world of trouble outside the ring. Peaches running around the ring, trying to draw the attention of the referee. Steve Flynn don't know where he's at. Steve Flynn wandering around out in the crowd, not knowing where he's at. In the ring, Frank the Tank Parker and Roger Anderson working over Danny Christian. Bam Bam's on the outside with Outlaw Chick White. Roger Anderson going to the top rope. They'll pick Danny Christian up. There's that off the top rope guillotine drop. The referee will make the 3 count. The winners of the fall of the match, Frank the Tank Parker, Roger Anderson, and the Outlaw Chick White. Here we go, rock and roll, Ricky Morton against the Warmachine. This will be a good match. It'll be a... Shut up! Collar and elbow tap, the Warmachine on Ricky Morton, takes him to the corner. He goes to hit him with a looping right hand. Morton out of the way. Warmachine did hit nothing but the turnbuckle. Ricky Morton in the Warmachine. Side headlock by Ricky Morton. Ricky Morton pops him on the top of the head. He tells the referee, watch my hair. Pops him to the top of the head. Ricky Morton working over the Warmachine early. Ricky Morton and the War Machine eyeing each other. Bad Boy Buck on the outside watching the action. Ricky Morton and the War Machine. War Machine comes up with a side headlock on Rock and Roll Ricky Morton. Morton takes War Machine to the corner and knees him before he leaves.
Get out and do anything, Rose.
They tie up collar and elbow again. Side headlock once again. Morton shoots the War Machine off. Bad Boy Buck grabs the War Machine by the leg. Makes War Machine mad. He goes outside, chasing after. And Ricky Morton was waiting on him. Ricky Morton and Bad Boy Buck. War Machine got it on both sides, on the rear and on the head too. Bad Boy Buck on the outside. The War Machine now going into the ring to square off against Ricky Morton some more. Rock and Roll Ricky Morton. Ricky Morton and the War Machine goes collar and elbow into the corner. Kevin Dalton calling for the break. That time the War Machine squared off against Morton and he gave him the fist. He didn't open that hand, he gave him the fist right to the top of the head. Ricky Morton goes collar and elbow with the War Machine. War Machine backs him into the corner. Gives him another shot to the top of the head. Morton backs him in, shoots him across the ring. Morton went in for the flying tackle. The War Machine moved, and Morton caught that shoulder on the top turnbuckle. There's a stomp by the War Machine, a second stomp, a third stomp by the War Machine on the shoulder of Rock and Roll Ricky Morton. The War Machine knows that his shoulder's in a world of trouble, and he's going to work on it. War Machine putting the arm around the top rope and pulling on it. Kevin Dalton, the referee, pulling him off of him. Rock and Roll Ricky Morton in a world of trouble now. Rabbit punch to the back of the neck by the War Machine. War Machine working on the shoulder of Rock and Roll Ricky Morton. Ricky reverses and comes up to a top wrist lock. The War Machine gets the hair of Ricky Morton and comes out of that hold easily. He comes down with two chops right across the back of the neck of Ricky Morton. The War Machine working on the shoulder that Ricky Morton hurt on the top turnbuckle a while ago. And he's staying on the shoulder. You've got to give it to this War Machine. When he gets a man hurt, he'll work and work and work on that place, and that's what needs to be done. Rock and Roll Ricky Morton, one of the toughest men that ever got in a wrestling ring, but the War Machine is staying tit for tat with him, Bad Boy Buck on the outside, watching the action. Rock and Roll Ricky Morton in a world of trouble. The shoulder and the arm starting to go numb. Referee Kevin Dalton asking him, hey, do you want to give it up? Do you want me to ring the bell? Do you want the match to be over? But Ricky Morton would rather die than give this match up. Morton takes him into the ropes. A short fist shoots the War Machine off. War Machine stops dead in his tracks and throws the foot into the shoulder of Rock and Roll Ricky Morton. The War Machine continues to work over the shoulder of the Rock and Roll Ricky Morton. Now Ricky coming to life. Ricky's had all he can stand, but the War Machine keeps coming full speed ahead. Ricky Morton come out of that corner, give him a glancing elbow, but the War Machine with a headbutt and a left hand to the side of the head of Rock and Roll Ricky Morton. The War Machine has beat Ricky Morton down into the corner, plumb down into the mat. The War Machine starting to choke the life out of Rock and Roll Ricky Morton. But Ricky Morton right back on his feet, gives a foot to the midsection. 4 kicks to the midsection of the War Machine. But the War Machine goes to the eyes of Rock and Roll Ricky Morton. Throws him to the outside. The War Machine coming to the outside. He's going after the Bad Boy. Bad Boy Buck, the midget. Rock and Roll Ricky Morton out on the floor. The War Machine on the other side of the ring, out on the floor. Now the War Machine starting to make his move back into the squared circle. Rock and Roll Ricky Morton starting to make his way back in. The War Machine goes after him, but Morton throws a shoulder into the midsection of the War Machine. The War Machine coming back outside to work over Rock and Roll Ricky Morton. And the War Machine just posted Ricky Morton here at the Sampson Center in Fall Branch, Tennessee. Now the War Machine is after Bad Boy Buck. The War Machine has caught the midget, and he gives him a looping right hand to the top of the head. He's knocked the midget, Bad Boy Buck, out. Now the War Machine picks up the midget, throws him into the ring under the bottom rope. The War Machine is turning his attention to the midget, Bad Boy Buck. He gives him a kick to the midsection. He's going for the pile driver. Morton gets up, comes into the ring, gives the War Machine a clothesline. Ricky Morton to the top rope. The War Machine gets up. Morton cross body block. And his referee, Kevin Dalton, was going for the pin. One of Death and Destruction hit the ring. It looks like to me, no, it's Roger Anderson. Roger Anderson of Death and Destruction has hit the ring. Now it's the War Machine and one half of Death and Destruction working over Rock and Roll Ricky Morton. Referee Kevin Dalton's been knocked down, kicked out of the ring. He's coming to his feet. In the ring, it's the War Machine and one half of Death and Destruction, Roger Anderson. They've knocked Ricky Morton down and left him laying in the center of the ring. Here comes the midget, Bad Boy Buck, into the ring. Roger Anderson starts out after the Bad Boy. Now the War Machine and one half of Death and Destruction, Roger Anderson, leave the arena. And laying in the center of the ring is one Rock and Roll Ricky Morton. And we go. It'll be Tracy Smothers, the wild-eyed Southern boy, against handsome Beau James. We could some this name calling and get underway. Here we go. Finally, test of strength going on right here. Collar and elbow tied to center of the ring. Smothers takes James to the corner. James slips away outside from Tracy Smothers. Walks around the ring to meet Peaches. Kind of talk the situation over. Beau James has told Tracy Smothers and the referee, if he don't open those fists, he's a living. Beau James climbing into the ring again against a wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers. Collar and elbow tied in the center of the ring. Beau takes him into the corner. Referee James McCombs calls for the break. Beau goes to throw the shot in. Tracy Smothers blocks it. Beau retreats to the outside. Tracy Smothers telling Beau James that Peaches wants to wrestle more than he does. Why don't he let her get in the ring? That made Beau James mad. Beau goes back into the ring. Collar and elbow tie-up. Beau takes Tracy Smothers into the corner. Throws a looping right hand. Smothers comes back. Hits James to the side of the head. Beau rolls out. Beau James complaining to the referee. Tracy Smothers using the fist. Beau James getting a little bit soothed from Peaches. Beau James climbing back into the ring. Handsome Beau James. Collar and elbow tied in the center of the ring. Side headlock by Beau James on Tracy Smothers. Side headlock. Tracy shoots Beau into the ropes. Beau comes off with a looping tackle. Beau James showing the women his muscles, saying, look what I did. I took Tracy Smothers down. Handsome Beau James moving out once again against the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers. Collar and elbow tied in the center of the ring. Beau James goes for a side headlock. He's got it in good and tight. Tracy shoots Beau into the ropes, leapfrogs over him, and now the tackle once again, the big football shoulder tackle by handsome Beau James. Beau James telling the crowd, this punk is nothing. Tracy Smothers is nothing. Tracy started some good moves there, but Beau James put the brakes on coming off the ropes, got the football shoulder tackle into Smothers and sent him a-selling. Tracy Smothers and Beau James locks up again. Side headlock by handsome Beau James. on the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers. Tracy shoots him off the ropes, goes for a hip toss, drop kick right into the face of Beau James. Tracy up and ready. Beau goes to the corner, falls on his posterior. Well, I'll tell you what, one quick hip toss off the ropes, and then right into the face, a flying drop kick from the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers, on the handsome one, Beau James, from here in Fall Branch, Tennessee. Now, Beau talking to Peaches over the situation. Beau James with a side headlock on Tracy Smothers. He drops down. Peaches grabs the top rope, and Tracy Smothers takes a spill out to the floor. Here comes handsome Beau James. Working over Tracy Smothers, shoots that back into the turnbuckles and the ring. Beau James working over Tracy Smothers into the kidney region. Now the rabbit punches to the back. Rabbit punches again to the back. Now Beau James posting the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers. It's starting to be all handsome Beau James here tonight at the Sansom Center. Now Beau James with a partial camel clutch. Beau James running the back of the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers, into the turnbuckles. Beau James give him two big shoulder splashes and throw him across the ring into the other set of turnbuckles. The wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers, in a world of trouble here at Sansom Center. Beau James hooking a partial camel clutch on the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers. Referee James McCombs asking Smothers, hey, do you want to give it up? Do you want to call it quits? Beau could win the Appalachian belt of Southern Championship Wrestling, Southern States, here tonight. Beau James sitting across the back of Tracy Smothers. He's got the chin hook. He's pulling back. He's got the camel clutch on one wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers. Peaches on the outside, watching all the action. The crowd starting to chant Tracy. Tracy comes out from under, but Beau James goes for a slam, and the wild-eyed Southern boy rolls him up. Beau James with a clothesline on the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers. He goes for a pin, gets a 2 count, but Tracy kicks out at the count of 2. Beau goes for the front face lock. He's got it hooked under the chin. He converts it now into a half surfboard. Beau James got a half surfboard in the middle of the ring on the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers, here to Sansom Center. Tracy trying to come up. He's on one knee. He's coming up slow. Beau James still maintaining a half surfboard. Now Tracy Smothers inverts the surfboard, puts it on Beau James, but Beau James comes up with that Missouri mule kick on the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers. Beau James knew he was in trouble when Tracy inverted that move, the surfboard, and boy, Beau was thinking there. He come up with that Missouri mule kick. I'm getting excited, man. This is action personified. Southern States Wrestling here at the Sansom Center in Fall Branch, Tennessee. Beau with a foot on the ropes and a little help from Peaches, of course. Peaches still helping Beau James out a little bit. Handsome Beau James working over the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers. Beau James with a front face lock on Tracy, and when the referee is down checking the hold, Beau will hook that rope with his foot. Beau James keeps applying the hold of the front face lock on the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers. The crowd starting to chant, Tracy, Tracy, Tracy. Tracy's starting to move. He's up on his feet. He gives Beau James a shot to the midsection, another shot. He comes off the ropes, ducks a clothesline, but Peaches moves in and grabs a foot of the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers. Beau James taking advantage of that, starting to work on the kidneys of the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers. Now Beau James goes back to the front face lock, applies it heavy on Tracy Smothers. Tracy looked like the momentum was going to change. He shot Beau off the ropes, and as he was coming off the ropes, Peaches grabbed the feet of the wild-eyed Southern boy and put him face first into the canvas. And now Beau James, after taking a couple shots to the kidney region of Tracy Smothers, has tucked back over on offense. Tracy Smothers about to go out. It's dropped twice. If it drops a third time, but no it don't, the arm goes up and stays up. Tracy Smothers would rather die than to give it up here at the Sampson Center. Referee James McCombs right in position to check the arm. Beau James applies the pressure of the front face lock, but Tracy Smothers comes up, and the Missouri Mule Kick has been given to handsome Beau James by the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers. Now Tracy comes alive. He climbs the middle turnbuckle. This could be trouble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 hits to the top of the head. And a Japanese drop. And now Tracy Smothers going for his signature move, the Georgia Jawjacker on Beau James. Beau turns around. Jawjacker connects right in the center of the ring. Tracy Smothers had the pin on handsome Beau James. Here comes Malia Hosaka. Beau been awakened. But look at Tracy. The winner of the fall in the match, the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers, over handsome Beau James and Malia Hosaka and Peaches.
Smoky Mountain Wrestling's referee right there, and I hit him with a chain. My Curtis,